Okay, I'm Natalie Max. I'm 39 years old, and I am, yeah, 39 years old. Live with my husband in the Vale of Belvoir and two children, Grace who's 8 and Harry who's 5, and Hudson, our dog, my firstborn. Before lockdown, life was, I guess, all about routines. You know, kids going to school, myself and my husband working. We both work from home, so you know, being at home isn't anything new to us. We do work, but you know, we were into our routine. We would be working during the day, and then you know, we tend to go out, like maybe for lunch or even just a coffee, just to get out of the house, just to sort of break the monotony. So you know, people in our local market town, we used to joke that sometimes they probably wondered what we did, because they would see us most days, but actually that was just our way of almost commuting, just getting out of the house and doing something different. Kind of like, you know, very rigorous to the routines of the school hours, drop the kids off in the morning, scramble to do as much work as possible during the day, and then you know, 3:30 is already here and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to pick the kids up. What have I done today, you know? In terms of work, I supported my husband through his business. He's a print broker and he works for the events and exhibitions industry, and so I would support him with a lot of work, and then also I did a bit of freelance work for a antiques fairs company, which I've been doing, and I worked for them one day in their office a week. So I did have one day a week where I actually, you know, went into someone's office, which was brilliant. And yeah, life was good. Life was normal, very normal. Had aspirations to start my company, and I was working hard on that in the background, working hard with my web developer, trying to get it all ready. And creating something that was really special to me. You know, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to launch a business, that I was doing it properly, if that makes sense. You know, I just wanted it to be what I wanted it to be, and I wanted to take time to make sure that it was that. You know, so I can talk. If I explain what the business is, that's probably a good place to start, because the business is party related. So the business is called Not Your Average Party Bag, and the idea behind it was, or is rather, reusable party bags. So there's no single-use plastic, there's nothing that's just going to be chucked away. It's all about providing party bags that last. And everything is quality, it's all hand printed, a lot of the items that go in the bags are handmade, and I just really wanted to create something that gave a real lasting impression of a party or an event or whatever it is that you've been to. It could be a wedding, it could be a corporate event, it could be a thank you gift, it could be anything, anywhere where a party bag was required. And I started wanting to create these because of my own children. So as soon as Grace turned 1, I know I've always worked in events and I've always loved organising things, but as soon as Grace turned 1, I planned her birthday party. I decided on the theme, which was Peter Rabbit, and we had a themed cake, we had themed food, we had all the decorations matched. You know, if I can go as far, I'll even get sort of, you know, a bouncy castle that matches or something like that. I go to those lengths, and I realised that I spent an awful amount of time on the party bags. At the time they were paper party bags, and I handmade the tags to go on them, and then I made sure that the gifts that went in each bag were age specific. So if we had babies coming, they had something different to what the older kids did. And I spent an awful lot of time sourcing all the items that went in the bag, and the thought that kept on coming in my mind is that I want this to be a lasting impression of the party. Because I mean, at the time I was thinking, you know, it's quite a momentous thing for me. My first child is turning 1, and you know, this is a celebration, and then this is going to be a nice gift to take home, and it's going to be a memory of the day, not just something which, you know, you eat the cake, you eat the sweets, and you chuck it, whatever else is in there, in the bin. And I thought, I don't want that. I don't want, for want of a better word, plastic tat that's just going to end up in a landfill somewhere. I want reusable, like, ethical products which people are going to reuse and be happy to have received, especially the parents nowadays. And I think it's important to people, and I know that there are probably some people that don't actually probably agree with the whole idea of a party bag, because you're going to someone else's party, you've been invited, you buy them a birthday gift, so you know, why should why do you give then like a thank you? But the kids love it. Kids expect it.
Yeah.
And
if they don't get it, probably like, where's my party bag?
Exactly. It's one of the first questions the kids ask when they get to a party.
Really?
When they get an invitation, do you think there'll be party bags? You know, and it's that sense of excitement and anticipation, and the kids
going to be in it.
love it. Yeah, exactly. And it's the comparison. It's like, oh, what did you get in your bag? Oh, you know, oh, can I have a look at yours? You know, and as soon as they literally, I mean, they're opening them before they even go out the door of the party, and I'm like, just wait a second at least, you know. And the kids are like, like that. So yeah, but yeah, so they're great. They're an important part of the party, and kids love them, and I just really enjoyed putting them together. And then, you know, I found that when that was just Grace's first birthday, and then it carried on. You know, I kind of set a precedent. You know, I wasn't doing myself any favours.
Were your party bags legendary?
It's like, oh no, which theme are we going to be choosing? I'd start like 6 months, honestly, like, you know, or at least perhaps 5 months before a birthday. I'm thinking, right, what's the theme going to be? What are you into at the moment, you know, Grace? And what theme's it going to be? And then
so it was a bit of an obsession by the sounds
yes,
of it.
I think you're probably right, Tracey.
I won't put that way.
But I enjoyed it, you know, I enjoyed it. And I think it probably does come from having a background of working in events. You know, you do enjoy organising and do enjoy that kind of stuff. But then it just kind of like gradually, I kind of thought, do you know what, maybe there's a business in this. You know, especially as people are trying to get away from plastic. And, you know, and that was a key thing for me. And people want things to be reusable, and they want something that's going to last. And so it kind of put a seed of thought in my head. And then I started to think about how it could be developed into a business. And, you know, the idea of my business initially was that it's just going to be purely party bags. And they were going to be for birthday parties, starting primarily with children, because, you know, I had so much inspiration having 2 children who loved a party.
And testers.
Exactly. Actually, I feel a bit sorry for the children because, you know, we have all these fabulous products in our house and they're not allowed to play with them. I know. Oh, yeah. Although they did appear in the photo shoot for the website, and then I did give them a gift each after because they were like, you know, I've just been playing with this for hours, Mummy, and now I can't have it. And I was like, yeah, of course you can. Yeah, initially the idea was to launch the business in April. That had been all the plan. I'd been working on it for a year, as in a full, like, making it into a business. So, you know, it had been the end of the summer last year that I'd had all the products photographed, and that I had a photo shoot with the children. And I'd been working with a web developer on pulling the website together for probably 6 months, and I was taking my time. I mean, you know, you can launch a business in far fewer months, but I really wanted to make sure I was doing it right. So I was taking my time, but in my head I had April Fools, and it wasn't going to be a joke, but I was going to actually launch the business. And then lockdown happened, and, you know, it occurred to me that something incredibly serious was happening, and I was about to launch a business that is essentially to do with celebrations and parties, and that actually it could appear, well, number one, parties weren't happening. Number two, you know, it could probably appear quite frivolous that you're launching something connected to just purely to celebrations. But I'd worked so hard on getting the business ready, and it was my baby, you know. I was really proud of how the website was looking. But then lockdown happened, and it was kind of like, what do I do now? And in a way, I suppose lockdown helped in a degree because I took a step back, and I was able to think, right, what am I going to do now? You know, I've got this business that I was ready to launch, but what do I do? You know, parties aren't happening. You know, people aren't really going to be wanting to necessarily hear about this at the moment.
Groups as well, I guess.
Exactly. No groups. You know, I was targeting wedding venues. I wanted to work with event planners. I wanted to work with party planners. I wanted to work with corporates. All the areas that weren't happening. So I took some time out. I kind of put pause, which was a good job because I was homeschooling 2 children anyway. So. And
how was that?
I swear, you know, hands up to teachers, because I couldn't be a teacher full time. And it was something I actually considered. I considered retraining and becoming a teacher after my second child was born, Harry. I considered a career change, and I thought, I've always quite fancied teaching. Yeah, no, couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. I love my children to bits, but teaching them, oh my word. They were good. I mean, we did it, we did it every day, and we did it for a few hours every day. So we got into a routine. So we'd get up, and originally when we first started it, I would set off my eldest daughter with the tasks that school had given her, and then I'd concentrate on Harry, who's only 5. And it very quickly occurred to me that actually I can't do that because Grace is only 8. So she actually needs that one-to-one as well. And so, I was pulling my hair out trying to, teach an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old at the same time. But do you know what? We were happy, healthy. We were in a house that had a big garden. So, it wasn't a problem in the grand scheme of things. And we eventually got into our little routine, our vibe. And it was okay. I mean, the kids complain like hell still. I moaned like hell still. And honestly, there were days where I'd get to the end of the day and I'd go, oh my God, I feel like I've been really horrible all day. All I've done is say, listen to me, or sit there, or I'm trying to explain it. Why aren't you getting it? Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, oh my God, I feel horrible. But then I talked to other mums and I talked to other parents that were going through it, and they're going, oh yeah, totally. I'm horrible too. So that made me feel a bit better. It's tough. And I would say to them things like, if my daughter's teacher's called Miss Robinson, so I'd say, if Miss Robinson asked you to do that, you would have done it, wouldn't you? Her answer would be, yes, mummy. So I'm like, well, pretend I'm Miss Robinson, but you're not. Yes, but pretend I'm Miss Robinson, and can you do it for me? Yeah, but that doesn't really work because I know you're my mummy. I'm just like, oh, okay, you are too smart for your own good. Okay, let's try something else or whatever. But they bless them. If you ask them, they would say that they love teaching mummy, but I think that's just because they like not being at school. And then I would balance it out. So in the afternoon, my husband would take over, and he would do PE. And then I'd get to work. So, we'd take it in turns and we'd balance it out so that not one of us was doing everything. Although, if the weather was bad, PE looked suspiciously like watching a movie.
An educational movie.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But no, we got through it. I mean, it was kind of like, what I decided to do was to go ahead and launch the business, but that I realised that I was going to have to do something a bit different. I needed to add a different side to the business to make it relevant in today's world. But I thought there's no point launching a business that that people can't use. Don't get me wrong, I didn't expect to launch a business and then to have loads of customers straight away, even if life were normal, but you've got to have a customer base there that can you can work with. So I decided to add a gift element to my business. Now, it was something I'd always planned to do maybe down the line, but then I thought, well, actually, people are missing people, and the party bags are so beautiful that a single bag could be given as a gift. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to add, I call it gift a bag, so gift a single bag. We send it direct to the recipients, and I include a handwritten note to them. And so I decided to do that, and I got quite excited about this because actually I kind of like regained the buzz for launching the business, because I thought actually this could work. It makes me relevant in today's world, and I got quite excited about it again. So, but then it was more work, because then I had to add to the website. I needed new photography, and obviously, you haven't got access to stuff like how you did pre-lockdown, so I had to do the photos myself, which still pains me a little bit when I look at those photos on the website, but they're up there, and it for the minute it doesn't matter. But compared to all my beautiful, other ones, it was hard to look at. But then, so I regained this excitement, and I was like, right, this is how it's going to do, and it means I can still launch and I can still be relevant, and hopefully, there'll be a place for me. But then I was homeschooling the kids, so then I got all this renewed energy and excitement, but then limited time to do it. And as I say, I worked at home before lockdown, so being at home was nothing new. And my husband and I, worked together, and we always have done. But even we, at the start of lockdown, that we're used to spending so much time together, I think it was strange because it's almost enforced. But even we were just like getting quite like, this is weird, you know. And I'm like, why are we like snapping at each other or getting irritated? We do this all the time. This isn't new to us. But it's weird. I think when something's enforced upon you, you kind of like, you feel differently. But then, and I think it's having the homeschooling thrown into the mix. I think that's just massively, you know.
All four of you weren't used to it.
No, exactly. No, completely. I think the only one that, you know, was happy was the dog, because he was like, yay, I've got company all the time. I love this. So it was a case of, you know, working on it as soon as I'd kind of like, you know, finished homeschooling the kids, and then
handed over to the PE teacher,
and then, you know, grab a bite to eat and then start working on it. And, you know, I was lucky that I had the guy that I was working on the website with, you know, he was still at hand, you know, on the end of a phone if I needed to. You know, we'd do calls where, you know, we'd video chat, or he'd take over my computer and, you know, show me what I was doing wrong or helping me. So I had the help and support there. So I was really lucky that I was still able to proceed with it. And I added this whole new element to my business, and then thought, right, now I feel like I can launch, and I'm happy about the offering that I'm giving. I'm not just going out there and just saying that I'm purely parties. Actually, you know, the gift element, I think is really important at the moment, because people are missing each other, and the fact that you can just send something through the post to someone was going to be a really nice element to add.
Definitely. I mean, and that shows some real adaptability as well, doesn't it? That you're able to change the entire model of your business.
Yeah, I'd like to think so, and I think it's almost like a survival instinct, isn't it? Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, right, what do I need to do now? And let's not be defeatist and just think, oh, parties aren't happening, so my business isn't going to work. No, you can't do that. You have to think, right, what are we going to do now, and how can we make this work? And the thing is, for me, you know, I'd spent a year getting the business ready anyway, so I'd put so much kind of like of my passion and love into developing this idea that just to not launch wasn't an option. I was like, you know, I've worked so hard on it and I believe in it, and I think that's the key thing. It's like I believed in what I've got to offer, so let's tweak it, even if it's meaning more work, get it right, and then go live. I think initially it didn't even occur to me that things weren't going to happen, because I was just thinking about homeschooling, or I was just thinking about what was going on in the world. I almost just like forgot about it momentarily, because it was just kind of like, you know, what on earth is going on here? And it's just kind of like every day to day, you know, I'm sure many hundreds of people, you know, 5 o'clock every day waiting for that, you know, news conference, and wanting to know what was happening. So I think, you know, initially, even though I was still working on it, I was almost like in a daze. I was just kind of like automatically going ahead and just carrying on with things and getting the site to where it needed to be. But it wasn't probably as it got nearer to April, when I should have launched at the beginning of April, and it was probably about mid-April, it was like, I didn't launch. And, you know, that's sad, but in the grand schemes of it, it doesn't really matter, because, you know, there's so much going on at the moment, and, you know, the daily figures and everything were just the real sobering thought every single day. And I always remember, like, at the start, before we went into lockdown, and then you'd see the figures in Spain and Italy, and never ever thinking that that's what we would encounter. And then it was happening, and even more so, and it was just like mind-blowing. It's just like, how are we here? You know, so grateful to be okay, you know, and being able to be in a position where, you know, you're weathering the storm, in the sense that friends and family were all okay as well. That, you know, we did have a garden, which was we were so grateful for the kids to be able to, you know, run around in, and yeah, just being grateful was a really, really big thing, you know.
So when you did launch, what happened?
Well, it wasn't the whole singing, dancing affair that I'd probably planned, and working in PR and marketing, that's what I'd kind of hoped when you launch a business, that's what it's going to look like. But lockdown launches don't look like that, and I don't think they should, and I don't think they need to. It was literally just a case of I went live on social media, the website went live, I did social media announcements, which actually social media has been brilliant for me, especially Instagram, in terms of getting the message out there. And then I started reaching out to people, telling them about the business. I've got a fantastic group of friends who were sharing all my posts and letting people know, for people that have got married recently, so they were sort of like telling me about their venues, so possibly in the future, because now's not necessarily the right time, but I can reach out to their contacts, and I've got a great support system of people that want to help, which is brilliant. And the launch was literally as simple as pressing the website live, and then creating some Instagram posts and putting them out there. But the reaction was still lovely from people, and I've got some incredible friends that as soon as my website went live, my first orders came in. And it's just like, what more can you ask for than that? I've got one of my very best friends, she's on maternity leave, and she went through every single page, every single word, every single image of my website. And I say to her now, like, I could not have done it without you, because, that's just, that means the world.
Definitely.
I mean, I'd always hoped to add a gifter bag element, but I saw that years down the line. My whole plan was to really establish myself within the events industry. So, work with party planners, work with wedding venue coordinators, work almost with the business to business side, as well as dealing direct with the public. That's what I'd hoped for. But then, lockdown happened, the world changed, and you have to adapt. So actually, bringing forward the gifter bag by however many years, has actually, worked really well. And we did thank you gift bags for teachers recently, when term end, and they were really popular. And it's almost, I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to develop stuff like that now, and offer different things.
So you've used your time incredibly wisely.
Yeah. Try to.
It sounds fantastic. It sounds like you've. I mean, my impression of you has always been one of a person that will just make the best of it, whatever, and that's what you've done in this situation, isn't it? You've
try to, try to make the best of whatever life throws at you, and and kind of be. I want to say be positive, and it seems quite wrong to say that, because what's happening, or what is horrible, and it is. But you do have to look at the silver linings, and you do have to sort of grab what you can from it. And one thing I've loved seeing during lockdown is families together. When we go out and walk the dog, and my kids are lucky, they see their dad all the time, work from home, we're always together. But going out and seeing so many other families doing that has been incredible.
It's good. So how was it not being able to see your parents for so long?
Awful. I mean, I speak to my parents every day anyway, and we only live half an hour away, so not far. And I think, it was probably most hard for my mum and dad, because not seeing the grandkids. They've got, there's a lot of grandkids. We're all very close knit. We normally see each other a lot. And to not to be able to see you, or even, it's not even so much see, because I could come and stand outside the gate and wave to my mum and dad, but it's giving them a hug or a kiss. That's what I missed most. And I talked to them all the time. We did Zoom calls, we did what everyone did, we did Zoom quizzes, which were all fantastic and fun, but nothing's quite the same as a hug.
Not the same, is it?
No, it's really not.
No.
It's really not. And I feel for, like, my husband, his parents are all the way down in Cornwall. He hasn't seen them, since January at the moment. And it's hard, you know, especially when you worry about people. You want to be able to see them to know they're okay, you know. I'm quite a tactile person. I like to, you know, touch or kiss or hug or whatever, and so not to be able to do that is quite odd. And you know, it feels, you know, we went out for a date night on Friday night. It's the first time we've been for a meal, James and I, and it was lovely. And you know, James said hi to the guy that runs the restaurant, and they did the elbow bump, and it made me giggle. But it was kind of like, it was nice to see as well, because he wanted to say sort of like, you know, welcome back to my restaurant or whatever. Yeah. But it did make me giggle. But it's all this kind of like new kind of normal, isn't it? And another friend made me laugh because she was saying, you know, why do I wave at the end of a Zoom call? You don't walk out of a meeting in an office and go, bye everyone. But when you're on a Zoom call, you do. You want to say bye. Crazily, at the start of, before lockdown hit, we were looking to relocate to Dorset. And literally, James and I had been down in Dorset the weekend that lockdown started on the Monday. Mm-hmm. So we'd been in Dorset looking at houses on the Friday. On the Saturday, we'd come home, and you know, there was that kind of feeling in the air then that it is going to happen. But at that stage, we were kind of like, you know, we thought we'd seen a house that we liked, and you know, is our life going to be moving on? And then lockdown happened, and all thoughts of that just went. So now that lockdown has eased, you know, we have been able to look at houses again, and hopefully we will be relocating, which will be a massive thing for the kids, because not only have they not been at school for ages, you know, in a few months' time they're going to be relocating potentially and then starting a new school. Making new friends, yeah, in an area they don't know. But I think I think it's, you know, it's the right move for us, and I think it will be a good move for us. And then for the business, you know, I like to think I'm ambitious, and I have so many aspirations for what I want my business to be and how I see it working, and I've just got to work hard to make sure I get there. And you know, it's probably going to take a lot of time, but I'm determined, and I'm hoping that, you know, by speaking to people, by getting the word out there about what I do and the ethos behind the company and the brand, and hoping that people like what I do, and that hopefully it will grow into something more than just what started out as an idea at my daughter's birthday party.
All those years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So finally, so tell us again the name of your new business.
It's Not Your Average Party Bag.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Oh.